The guy in the green shirt is Alex Epstein. He must be a little crazy because he goes to environmental rallies and holds up that sign that says what his t-shirt says. I love fossil fuels. The protesters get angry about that, and as you saw, they sometimes try to rip the sign out of his hands. Now, it's fine if protesters curse him or call him a fraud, a tool of big oil, and they do. That's free speech. But now global warming alarmists have gone further. They've gotten government prosecutors to order people like him to basically shut up.
Fossil fuel companies that deceived investors and consumers about the dangers of climate change must be held accountable.
That's Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey. She and other Democrat prosecutors now claim that oil companies lied about climate change. And to prove it, they now demand that Exxon-Mobil hand over all documents and communications concerning Exxon's research efforts to study CO2. In her subpoena, General Healey specifically names Alex Epstein's little group, the Center for Industrial Progress. So, congratulations. You're made it big. You're getting named in the subpoena.
Yeah, I wish I could laugh about it, but it was really, really bad. What they're doing is they're attacking companies and then organizations associated with companies for expressing ideas they disagree with about the magnitude of CO2's impact on climate.
All right, and you're in the subpoena because you have a group that says, among other things, like the button you're wearing, I love fossil fuels. You think
Right.
they do more good than harm.
Exactly. So I think the impact is mild and manageable versus runaway and catastrophic. And for that, and for Exxon,
The impact of global warming.
of CO2.
It's manageable. Okay, of carbon.
Yeah. So, and for having that opinion, and for Exxon having that opinion, the government has come down, particularly on Exxon, and said, you should not say this, and in fact, we're going to prosecute you, and we're going to go into your emails, including your emails with my organization. Now, I regard this as an uncivilized, barbaric act, and so I expressed myself in a very uncivilized way that I almost never do, and I said, off fascist, because if she had come to my door and asked for my private information because I wrote a book called The Moral Case for Fossil Fuels, I would have told her to off.
In response to your Twitter message, you got some more good reactions than bad. Brilliant, someone said. You are my hero. But somebody else said, you're a wealthy dude who benefits from a system which exploits the earth to benefit a few wealthy dudes.
I accept that if you mean by a few wealthy dudes, 7 billion people who are much better off than we would otherwise be.
All right, the government said, or not the government, but these Democratic attorneys general, they say this is not a free speech issue. Free speech doesn't give you the right to commit fraud, and this is fraud.
If Exxon had said, you know this gasoline that we say is unleaded? Well, it actually turns out that it has lead in it, right? If they did that, that would be fraud.
That's fraud.
Because that's concretely misrepresenting the nature of your product. Now, what is not fraud is having a controversial or different idea about your product. Now, Exxon never said our gasoline does not contain carbon.
The government says there's a disconnect between what the company was saying publicly and what it said privately about climate change. For example, oil companies were building infrastructure to sustain rising sea levels, like an oil platform. They made it higher when they were at the same time saying, we don't know that global warming is going to be a big problem.
That is not a crime to have contradictory ideas. Now, the sea level...
Also, it wasn't even that contradictory. They were just saying, we're covering our rear. It just doesn't cost much to build it higher. We don't think this will be a problem.
It's completely consistent with mild and manageable.
My state's clueless and opportunistic Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. He's always eager to get his face on TV by attacking business. Here he's defending his attempt to censor people like Alex.
The First Amendment, ladies and gentlemen, does not give you the right to commit fraud.
Exxon, he says, is lying to its investors because if the world were to burn a portion of the oil that's in the ground that the industry declares in its books, the planet would be destroyed. Therefore, it's overstating their assets by trillions. There may be massive securities fraud here.
So this is an idea, and actually a very bizarre idea, but an idea nevertheless by your insane and immoral Attorney General about the future of CO2 emissions and energy. There are many ideas about this, and the point is that he's free to have that idea, and Exxon is free to have their ideas, and I'm free to have my ideas, and we should win or lose in the court of public opinion.
What's been the result of this?
Well, the result of this, mostly positive, has been that a lot of people have been empowered to attack the government when it's being uncivilized. And it's very important because often I think people on the pro-freedom side react in a very academic way, which is important to do by itself, but it's important to supplement that with saying, you are a thug. If you attack my free speech, you are a thug, and I'm not going to go to cocktail parties with you and try to charm you. The difference between a civilized society and an uncivilized society overwhelmingly has to do with the freedom to exchange ideas openly.
If you have ideas that one party's prosecutors disagree with, they may try to shut you up. And they have all the time and all the money and all the taxpayers' money to do it with.
Well, I would say I'm grateful for this show because I think it's one of the places that actually stands up for people with controversial ideas.